Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in. In this video, we're going to be considering a summary of the Live and Ministry meeting for this week, June 16th to 22nd, 2025. We're considering Proverbs chapter 18, and one of the main points is the way we use our words. Speak refreshingly to those coping with health challenges. Let's pay attention to this initial talk from the Treasures from God's Word section. Imagine if every word you spoke today could be a balm, a medicine for the heart of someone suffering. What would you say? How would you make that person feel seen, heard, and loved? Today, we'll talk about the healing power of our words, especially for those facing health struggles, emotional struggles. And that's very important. Our words could be like a medicine. And there's no doubt the Bible is clear in Proverbs 12:18. Thoughtless words cut like a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. When someone is sick, whether physically or emotionally, their days may be filled with pain, uncertainty, or loneliness. And in those moments, our words can be like a ray of light or an added weight to carry. Have you ever been in a situation like that? Have you ever heard phrases like, "It's not a big deal," "It's not too bad," "It could be worse," or "God is refining or testing your faith"? Though well-intentioned, they often hurt, because, as Proverbs 18:13 reminds us, to answer before listening is folly and shame. The Bible gives us 3 keys to becoming true comforters, and this is very important to think about. For example, listen without judging. Proverbs 11:2 warns, "Pride brings disgrace." What does it mean? Don't assume you know how the other feels. Ask, "Do you want to share how you're feeling today?" And then stay silent. Instead of saying, "Let me know if you need anything," which rarely happens, say, "I'm going to the store today. What do you need?" Or, "I'll drop off a meal for you." The Bible encourages us at Galatians 6:2 to carry their burdens, carry each other's burdens. Be patient. If your loved one cancels plans or is not good that day, don't take it personally. Proverbs 18:24 says, "There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Be that unfailing friend." Jesus said, "The mouth speaks what the heart is full of." If we fill our hearts with compassion, our words will reflect hope. There are some healing phrases that we could use with our friend, relative, or the household who's under the weather. Phrases like, "I admire your strength in facing this every day. You're not alone in this. I'm here for you. Your worth is not defined by your health. You are invaluable." Once, a man with cancer told his wife, "What hurts most is not the illness, but feeling like people avoid me." She replied, "I won't avoid you. I love you even on the hard days. That was his medicine. Today, we could participate in this marvelous work, using our words not to wound but to heal, to be, as Proverbs 18:4 says, a fountain of life and wisdom. Because sometimes the best medicine is not in a bottle, it's in I love you. I'm here. Don't give up. So think for a moment, who can you encourage today? Let's move on to the spiritual James comments. So we're considering Proverbs chapter 18, and let's read first 18:18. This is the first question, and we read, casting lots puts an end to disputes and decides between strong opponents. So why were lots used in Bible times? And this is an interesting question. Casting lots was an ancient custom used to decide on various matters. It was a way to settle disputes. It was not used for sports, entertainment, or games of chance. There were no bets, losses, or gains. It was not intended to enrich the temple or the priests, nor to raise funds for charitable works. The next question, what spiritual gems from this week's Bible reading would you like to share? Let's start with number 1, 18, verse 1. We read, whoever isolates himself pursues his own selfish desires. He rejects all practical wisdom. This verse makes us reflect on how important it's not to isolate ourselves completely. It's good to be balanced in socializing, surrounding ourselves with people who encourage, advise, and help us grow. The Christian life is best lived together, not alone. Number 2, 18:13, we read, when anyone replies to a matter before he hears the facts, it's foolish and humiliating. This teaches us that humility begins with listening. Before judging or giving our opinion, it's good to make sure we fully understand the situation. Misunderstandings can sometimes end relationships simply because things weren't clarified. Number 3, 18:21, we read, death and life are in the power of the tongue. Those who love to use it will eat its fruitage. This verse teaches us that words have power. We can use our words to build up, encourage, and give life. What we say can heal or wound. We must choose our words wisely, especially in our family, congregation, preaching, and so on. Number 4, 18, verse 10, we read, the name of Jehovah is a strong tower. Into it the righteous one runs and receives protection. So the name of Jehovah, it refers at the original, the tetragrammaton, the Hebrew word for the holy name, the most holy and sacred name of the Creator. And this teaches us that Jehovah's name is our safe refuge. When we feel fear or insecurity, let's remember that God is our strength. It's good to submit to Him, to entrust all our worries and anxieties to Him, and to declare our submission to Him. Number 5, 18:12, we read, Before a crush, a man's heart is lofty, and before glory, there is humility. This teaches us that humility precedes honor. Jehovah God blesses the humble one. We should not seek to exalt ourselves. Instead, let Jehovah establish matters in his right time. 6. 18 verse 9. Whoever is lazy in his work is a brother to the one who causes ruin. This teaches us that it's important to be hard-working and diligent, as this brings blessing. Even in small things, we can be faithful. Our effort and dedication honor God and open doors. Number 7. 18:17 we read, "The first to state his case seems right, until the other party comes and cross-examines him." This verse teaches us that truth is discovered or find out with patience. Let's not rush to take sides. Often the truth is revealed when we hear both versions. Number 8. 18:24 we read, "There are companions ready to crush one another, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother." This reminds us of something important. A faithful friend is a gift from Jehovah. Such friends are not found by chance on every corner. It motivates us to be that good friend ourselves and to observe others, cultivating sincere friendships. A true friend reflects God's love. 9. 18:22 The one who finds a good wife has found something good, and he receives Jehovah's honor. This teaches us that a good marriage is a gift from Jehovah. And wanna be realistic about this matter. For many of the sisters, it might be a difficult challenge to find a good brother around, and vice versa. So, if we're married, let's value and honor our spouse. If not, let's ask Jehovah for wisdom to choose well. Marriage is a blessing when lived according to biblical principles. But if it's not the way, it might be a terribly nightmare. Number 10. 18:19 A brother offended is more unyielding than a fortified city, and there are disputes like the bars of a fortress. This verse teaches us that love covers offenses, pride divides, but forgiveness restores. If someone has hurt us, let's seek reconciliation with love and humility. Let's move on to the Living as Christians section. Part number 8. Helping loved ones draw close to Jehovah without a word. This is a discussion and includes a video. And it's a real fact that many of us know someone who's not presently serving Jehovah. Perhaps our marriage mate, our child, or a dear friend who has strayed from the congregation. Have you ever caught yourself being overly forceful or even blunt in an attempt to persuade him to serve Jehovah? Though our motives are good, our words could actually make things worse. So, there is an interesting Bible principle at 1 Peter 3:1. Explains that an unbelieving husband may be won without a word. How's that possible? The answer is through our good conduct, our good example. Even if a Christian sister's husband refuses to discuss Bible truths with her, she may still be able to help him come to know Jehovah. Her conduct, which has been molded by such godly qualities as love, kindness, and wisdom, may soften his heart. Our conduct and graciousness can have a good effect on loved ones who don't currently serve Jehovah. Now, the first question after the video reads, what do you learn from Sister Sasaki's experience? Being excited about what we've learned from the Bible might lead us to share too much information with our unbelieving spouse, who could feel overwhelmed and concerned. The unbelieving spouse might worry that we're part of a strange or fanatical religion, even the word cult. What do you learn from Sister Sasaki's experience? Okay, our good conduct and effect is an effective way to preach without a word. Sister Sasaki is grateful because she continues to serve Jehovah with her family, including her husband. The next one, what do you learn from Sister Ido's experience? Sister Ido remained strong for her family. It was very difficult for her to attend meetings without her husband, go out in the ministry without him, and take her children with her. She emphasizes the importance of guarding the heart. Instead of asking someone else to teach her children the Bible, she took on that responsibility herself. And in a certain moment, she recognized that her words maybe were true, but were not loving and kind words to her husband, and that was not effective at all. What do you learn from Sister Okada's experience? She imagined herself in the paradise with her husband. This strengthened her determination not to leave the congregation. When attending meetings, she left loving notes for her husband, who eventually returned to the congregation. She never left Jehovah, and he never abandoned her. Let's conclude our summary with the Congregation Bible Study. We're concluding chapter 27, paragraphs 23 to 26, and boxes on pages 214 and 217. And let's start with paragraph 23 and 24. Like Paul, how have many modern-day Christians demonstrated a positive attitude despite being unjustly confined? We have the example of Brother Adolfo from Spain, and of course he was in prison because of his Christian neutrality. And one of the officers said, "We're amazed at you. We have been making life impossible for you, and the worse we made it, the more you smiled and had a kind word." Adolfo was trusted to the point that his cell door was left open. Soldiers could visit to ask about the Bible. One of the guards would even go into Adolfo's cell to read the Bible. Could you imagine that? While Adolfo would keep a lookout, so the prisoner guarded the sentry. Some lessons we learn from this account. Paul and Adolfo kept their joy despite unjust imprisonment. When we face difficulties, injustice, pressure, or persecution, let's remember our joy comes from serving Jehovah, not from a comfortable life. If someone mistreats us for our faith, avoid responding with anger. Instead, show patience and love. 25 and 26. In a little less than 30 years, what amazing prophecy had Paul seen fulfilled, and how does this compare with our time? The prophecy of Acts 1:8, you'll receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and you'll be my witnesses in Jerusalem, in all Judea and Samaria, and to the most distant part of the earth. And guess what? Who said this prophecy? Was Jesus in person before go to heaven. Some lessons we learn from this. Today, that same Spirit empowers the Anointed One and the other sheep to give a thorough witness about God's kingdom in 240 countries and territories. Despite persecution, wars, and restrictions, the preaching work now reaches 240 countries and territories. When facing ministry obstacles like shyness, persecution, limited resources, remember we rely not on our strength but on Jehovah's Spirit. Even with challenges like health, age, or legal limitations, we can do all that our circumstances allow. Let's discuss one of the boxes, Paul's life after 61 CE. And it's a fact that the Greek scriptures don't say anything about Paul's case before the emperor. However, there are some secular information, and apparently the emperor pronounced the Apostle Paul innocent. We don't know much about it, or we don't know much about the apostles' activities. This is a very curious detail that just we have more information about the Apostle Paul than the rest of the apostles or disciples, and there is an explanation about it. And then we notice that from Paul's 3 letters dated to the period after his release, 1st and 2nd Timothy and Titus, we learn that Paul visited Crete. Now, there is a significant detail in his 2nd letter to Timothy. Paul, expecting imminent death, asked him and Mark to come quickly. Noteworthy is the courage of Luke and Onesiphorus, who risked their lives to comfort Paul. Paul likely suffered persecution after writing his final letter to Timothy in about 65 CE, and the same emperor, Nero, himself reportedly came to a violent end about 3 years after Paul's martyrdom. The next box reads, "The good news preached in all creation." And how should we understand this statement? It appears that Paul was describing in broad terms how far the good news had reached. Had the good news been preached in Britain, China, and the Far East? That seems unlikely. Indeed, when Paul wrote to the Colossians, he still had not realized his own goal, stated in about 56 CE, of preaching in the then untouched territory of Spain. Okay friends, that's a wrap for today's video. Thank you so much for joining us in this consideration of the main points for this midweek meeting, life and ministry meeting. Very encouraging information at the right time. So we hope you have a wonderful day, be safe, and hope to see you in our next video.